What's up everyone? It's Ezri here, and in today's video we're going to talk about whether I'd recommend getting an iPad Pro for college or not. Let's go! In short, before we begin, I would like to say that personally the answer is yes, I would get the iPad Pro, but only if you're willing to spend a decent amount of money on the iPad Pro, because there's so many different alternatives that you could buy instead of the iPad Pro, such as the normal iPad, the cheap iPad Pro, or like even the older generation iPad Pro 10.5 with the bezels without the Face ID and all that. But personally, I have the iPad Pro 11-inch, the one with the magnetic pencil, and so far I've had it for about 2 years now. I got it sophomore year of college, and now I'm entering my senior year of college, so I've had it for a good amount of time, and personally I'd say yes, it's worth it, but only if you're willing to spend the money. Alright, let's get into it. For the rest of the video, I'm going to split it into 3 different segments. The first segment is the pros, so what I think is the benefit of having an iPad. The second part is the cons, so the downsides of having an iPad Pro and why it might not be very helpful to have an iPad Pro in college. And the third part and the final part is just my final thoughts on it and whether I personally would recommend getting the iPad or not. Alright, let's go. Firstly, let's talk about the benefits of having an iPad Pro for college. Number one is portability. It's very easy to carry around your iPad Pro, and for us college students, it's very important that I don't have heavy stuff on my backpack because I'm required to walk from buildings to buildings and classes to classes, and that is a lot of walking. And with heavy stuff on my back, it might feel uncomfortable. And with the iPad Pro, it eliminates that feeling of having to carry heavy stuff, and it's very easy to carry around, and it doesn't even feel like much on my back, honestly, when I have it in my backpack. And yeah, so portability is a very big factor for me. Number two is that it has allowed me to improve my note-taking ability by a lot. And what I mean by that is, instead of having your notebook out and writing down word for word what's on the lecture slides, I can just download the lecture slides on my iPad and write over it and write about what the professor is talking about and what the professor is focusing on, rather than worrying about if I have the exact words on the lecture slides written down on my notebook and that if I've missed anything on the previous slides. Number three is that it has allowed me to become more organized, and instead of having my textbook, my worksheets, and my notebooks laying around, I could just have it all in one spot and read my textbook before class on my iPad while I'm walking to class, while I'm in the library. And then in class, I can just pull up the lecture slides, write on it, and then after class, just work on the worksheets all in one spot. And this eliminates the fact that I have to dig into my backpack to look through all 5 of my notebooks with all different subjects, and instead just pull up my iPad and have it all here and not worry about if I'm missing a paper or if I'm missing a worksheet. Yeah, those are the benefits of the iPad Pro, and now let's move on and talk about the downsides of having an iPad Pro for college. And now, let's talk about the downsides of having an iPad Pro for college. Number one is that it's super expensive. And I get it, some of us college students don't have the money, don't have the $1,000 laying around to spend on an iPad. But let's say you really want to get an iPad Pro. What I'd recommend is getting an older model such as the iPad Pro 10.5, or even get the cheaper model, the iPad that works with the pencil, or get a refurbished iPad Pro at a discounted price. That would be the best bet. Number two of the cons is that some softwares just don't work on the iPad. You'll need a Windows or a Mac OS to download the software and to work on some of your project from your schools. When I was taking organic chemistry, we had to do something where we had to analyze NMR data, and for that you have to go to the library or go on your Mac and use their software to complete the task there. But it's not too much of a compromise since you'll have that as an option. Number 3 is that the lack of keyboard. So if you do type a lot and you write a lot of essays, using the on-screen keyboard might not be the best typing experience for you. And if you do want to get a keyboard, you have to spend $180 for a keyboard folio, or for a smart keyboard folio, and $350 for a Magic Keyboard if you want a better typing experience. So yeah, those are the downsides of having an iPad Pro for college. And now let's move on and talk about my final thoughts on the iPad. Finally, let's talk about my thoughts on the iPad Pro as a whole. The past 2 years, the iPad Pro has not only helped me improve the quality of my notes in class, but it also has helped me become more productive as I take notes in class, in lectures, while the professor is speaking. And for that reason, I would seriously recommend it to you guys. If you are looking to get an iPad for high school or college to take notes, it has really helped me tremendously, and honestly, I'd give it a 5 out of 5 stars, recommended by Ezri himself for you guys. And yeah, that's it for this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.